Let there be peace and love among all beings in the universe. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaskar, Namaskar. Welcome to Satsang.
That was Bob in November 2011 in Santa Barbara. You wouldn't have guessed by looking at him what a wild life he'd had as a sailor and everything else before he came to be a giver of satsang, especially wonderfully in his last year. This video was about our campaign to raise money to publish the 2 books about Bob. A nickel's worth about his life and his spiritual message, and the Shiva Paradox, in which Bob is a fictional character named Captain Tom, who's, in my opinion, 95% the real Bob. Bob laughed and said, "No, only 90." Thanks for watching. Thanks for helping. And enjoy the books. This is Arunachala from Bob's house. Bob first came to India in 1999, and he fell in love with Arunachala and this area immediately. With his friend Yukio Ramana and his Indian friend Venkateshan, he leased this land for 20 years. He thought that'd be long enough to be for life, and he was right, and he built a wonderful house. This is the 2nd floor of Bob's house. He actually had 3. He had guest rooms on the 2nd and 3rd floor for all his friends. And that's his buddy's house next door. And you'll understand when you read the book The Shiva Paradox how important those 2 houses next door were. The thing was, in The Shiva Paradox, Bob's house, he's called Tom in that book, was a lot smaller than it is in reality. Arunachala, the holy mountain, the home of Ramana Maharshi. One of Bob's favorite places in the world was up here at Skandasram, and the view on the way to it of the Shiva temple down in the town was another one of his favorite places to be. Thankfully, in the time Bob had been coming to Arunachala, the forest had come back big time, which would have pleased this man. The reason everybody came, Ramana Maharshi, the fantastic Advaitic sage. Here's the view Bob loves so much of the Shiva temple down in the town. It's just about 100 yards south of Skandasram, where Ramana Maharshi lived for many years of his life before moving to the base to what is now Ramana Ashram. This is an ancient holy site. It has this big Dravidian temple at the base on the north side of town. Arunachala and Tiruvannamalai were huge parts of Bob's life. They're featured extensively in A Nickel's Worth, the story of Bob's life and about his spiritual message, and also in the Shiva Paradox. Next, in this little preview clip about A Nickel's Worth in the Shiva Paradox and Bob in India, we move north, far north, to a temple called Kunjapuri. Kunjapuri is a windy ride above Rishikesh, above the holy river, the Ganga, which the British called the Ganges. And on this day, we had a blessedly clear sky in January of 2013, and we could see the snow-capped Himalayas to the north. And down below is Rishikesh. On the Ganga, beautiful ashrams, temples, yoga schools, teachers, masters, gurus, crazies. Rishikesh was another one of Bob's favorite places. These bridges are really important in Rishikesh. They're the way to get across the river without a car, and that's 20 miles if you don't walk. So as the camera goes from Shiva past world peace to the war chariot of the great fighter Arjuna being carried to battle by the god Krishna, we come to pictures that kind of encapsulate Bob's life, which is only appropriate because this is what A Nickel's Worth is all about. It starts with pictures of Bob in high school, and then a picture of Bob just about how he was when he was making his Hollywood movie, and then a picture of Bob as I met him in India in 1999, and it's that Bob who would have been part of the Shiva Paradox as Tom. And then there's another picture of Bob in front of Arunachala from his yard, and then a very special picture, the last picture of Bob ever taken, or one of the last two of Bob ever taken. These were taken by our friend Fritz on Saturday, July 28th, 2012. Bob was so happy to have gotten off a walk and be able to use those canes instead. In the Shiva Paradox, a man named Shankar lives in a wagon kind of like that. It's not his wagon, but it's very similar to the one he actually lived in. He's a real-life guy. And these sadhus by the river, the holy men, hopefully these are the real good guys, not the other type. And the bridge here plays a real important part, especially at night in the book. But the view from Lakshmanjula, the bridge, across the Ganga and around Rishikesh is one I hope everybody who sees this video or reads either of the two books gets to see. It's only appropriate that there is a man over 100 years old here, since part of the Shiva Paradox is the main character's quest for what he calls the forever sage, the man who lives forever. And of course, here is Shiva.